Hello and welcome to the work in progress video for the coursework 2 of 3D interactive media development module, where team 3 and our group consists of me, Shemeshi, Themiya and Disal. Just to give a briefing of what the coursework 1 was about, we had a work in progress video and a group report and individual reports and a final submission video, whereas by the end of coursework 1 we were only able to have a small scene, the very first scene, which is the main menu scene, and few characters and their animations were done for the final coursework 1. Whereas for coursework 2's work in progress video, which is this one, we were able to build upon those, where now we have our main menu scene, which is the first scene, and a few other scenes, and we have our character controller where the player can move around, a few UI elements, and a lot of assets for the environment of these scenes. If I were to mention how much of our progress were completed compared to coursework 1 and coursework 2 and our end goal, I'd say around 25%, almost a quarter of it is done, because there's 2 more scenes left, which is the living room scene and the hallway scene. Whereas the kitchen scene has been built, the living room scene, certain assets have been made, whereas the last scene, which is the hallway scene, has not been made yet. The main menu is completed and the kitchen is also completed. Apart from assets and 3D modeling, we have a few more stuff to add, which is scripts for how these UI elements interact, because we want to add a character selection scene and a few settings where the user can adjust the volume, because for a horror game there's a lot of sounds and audio input. Apart from the UI interactive media, we have a few interactions with our assets where you can open, close certain doors, you can interact with clues. Those also need to be added. So there is still a few more to do, but we are still working on it. We did make a few modifications according to our peer review, whereas our first peer review from team 1, they mentioned how we are going to implement the interactions. If I pull out our kitchen scene, if I play this, you can see how this UI element is here with us. This is going to be how we are going to sort of give the user an idea of how you're going to interact with in-game objects when you move and all. Sorry, let me get both of my hands. As you move around, you can see the UI element also is looking right at the scene. That way it sort of gives a interactive sort of look when you're playing the game. That is one peer review. And the second option that they told us was to how we are going to implement these scenes. We thought of going with the approach of separating each scenes. So as you can see here in the folder structure, the main scene, the kitchen scene, these aren't the final namings, but for now that's how it is. And living room scene, the hallway scene is still hasn't been made yet, but yes. And the peer review that we got from our lecturer, where Sir Pumudu mentioned that since it is a horror game, lighting is a very important component to this. So he asked us how we are going to sort of work around with the lighting. And I don't know if you can see here, if I play this, we sort of thought of adding fog. Let me pause this and show you environment, other settings. We've added fog to each of our scene, because the more visible objects are, the less scarier it is. So we are going to dim down the lights by getting rid of all the default directional light that we get from each scene, and we're going to add our specific lightings. Whereas if you can see the kitchen scene, there's a point light and a spotlight, and you can see the rest of the scene kind of looks foggy and dim, and the characters aren't even visible because we sort of want to make it look scary and not sort of bright, so that you know what's going on, what's there in your environment. That's one of the approach. The fog and our own lighting system is what we're planning to do. And the other one was the UI elements. This, as you can see, we're using world space UI elements. That way, sort of, it's not stuck to the overlay of the screen. It's just there in the object, and we've added a script where, as you move around the character, as you move around the object, the overlay or the UI canvas does not, it also rotates accordingly to the way you look at it. Let me show this again. See, even though I'm moving, it's like the UI is staring at me. That's how we thought of using this. And of course we have our scripts for that as well. This is the billboard script, not much of lines. This, I think they call it billboarding in Unity. And then we have we thought we were using Unity's own inbuilt package for inputs. We're using Unity's default input system to sort of move the character. There's the character controller script here as well, where you move around and you can jump and look around with the camera. The load scenes, we were going to add that. We haven't still worked on it yet, but we will be adding that as well. Yes. Let me show the main screen. We added a particle effect to sort of make it look like it's raining, and as you can see here also we've used a spotlight and 2 point lights to sort of give that odd scary look to this. And this is also a world space UI element. That's how we're going to get we were able to get the 3D sort of look to this. And as you can see in the background, there's a fog to sort of make it look like spooky, sort of. And if I go to our living room scene, this entire sofa was built by one of our team members. Even this, I think Disal used 3ds Max to do this entire scene. The materials have to be added, that we're still working on it, but for now the sofa, table and chair, all of these have been added. Sofa, table and the TV. That's probably all. And yes, of course, previously we had few issues with our female character. If I load that scene up pretty quickly, our female character had a few errors in our coursework 1's final video, where sort of there was a glitch, and our team member Shemeshi sort of worked on it. And as you can see, she rigged her character so that next time when the animation plays there won't be any major issues. And yep, that should be all the progress that we've made. These folders will be cleared out, like the main scene, it's going to be cleaned out. Still haven't worked on that yet. There's quite a bit to do, but for now this is it for our progress video. Thank you for listening and watching.